What's going on, everyone? Welcome into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5, presented by Dutchie. As usual, I'm your host, Shad Dales, and wow, what momentum is building here in the cannabis space over these last couple of days. Back on Sunday, September the 28th, in case you were living under a rock, President Donald Trump posted a video on his Truth Social account that could mark a notable moment in U.S. cannabis policy. So why am I saying that? Well, he endorsed the benefits of cannabinoids, specifically CBD and the body's endocannabinoid system. This is big. So for months, the cannabis industry has been watching for signals out of Washington on rescheduling. And now, with this video, there's new questions about how cannabis reform could develop and whether this might influence the pace of decision making. So lots on the go right now, and all eyes again centered on President Trump around cannabis reform. So let's get into our latest TDR Cannabis in 5, presented by Dutchie. All right, let's begin. What was announced in this Truth Social video? President Trump goes into detail about the body's endocannabinoid system. The video explains how the system declines with age and how CBD could help restore balance. It specifically links CBD to reducing pain, improving sleep, lowering stress, supporting overall health as people get older. And then when you add in the policy angle, Trump calls for Medicare to cover CBD for seniors. So that's not just a health comment, that's a policy proposal from the sitting president of the United States. That's huge. The video also highlights the 2018 Farm Bill, the law that legalized hemp nationwide, and it makes a point of tying hemp and CBD back to this legal framework. And finally, what's even more encouraging is the economic claim. In the video, Fox News anchor Bret Baier is shown saying that integrating cannabis into healthcare could save $64 billion a year. And at the 2:15 mark, the word cannabis is clearly mentioned, addressing online chatter. This wasn't only about hemp, but both hemp and cannabis definitely are part of this message. So now let's pause on that point because it's been a big topic of debate online. Some people noticed that hemp was mentioned several times and they asked, is this really about cannabis or just about hemp and CBD? So that's an important distinction because hemp, of course, is already federally legal under the Farm Bill, where cannabis remains a Schedule I drug, and that's the question at the center of this rescheduling debate. But when you go back to that clip of Bret Baier in Trump's video, cannabis is clearly mentioned. So while hemp and CBD were highlighted, cannabis is also part of the conversation. So really the blending of the terms, it could be deliberate. If you connect hemp and cannabis under one umbrella, then Trump may be framing cannabis policy as a continuation of existing law rather than dramatic change. So now let's talk about the credibility of where this video came from, because that's just as important as what we just said. The video was produced and promoted with the backing of the Commonwealth Project. So who are they? The Commonwealth Project is an advocacy group with ties to both federal and state cannabis reform efforts. They've already made their position clear in regulatory filings. In their, quote, notice of appearance for the DEA's rescheduling hearing, they stated they support moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. So if you look into detail, here's what they wrote. The Commonwealth Project strongly supports the Department of Health and Human Services recommendation to reschedule cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, and the Department of Justice's and DEA's NPRM that proposes doing so. When you look even further, the people behind the Commonwealth Project, they're well connected and experienced in Washington policy circles. When they promote a video like this, and when Trump shares it, it suggests coordination and intent. You got to look at this from a big picture point of view. So what does this then mean? Until now, cannabis rescheduling has been handled mostly behind closed doors between the HHS, DOJ, and DEA. That industry has been left waiting on filings, comment periods, and agency timelines. But with Trump's video, it's the first time we've seen the president himself publicly connect his name to cannabis and cannabinoids in such a different way. This is why it's so big. So that matters for two specific reasons. One, momentum. Rescheduling is already in process, and Trump's statement places the issue more firmly in the public eye. And then there's two, which is framing. By linking cannabis to hemp, seniors, and healthcare costs, Trump is presenting this as a mainstream policy issue rather than a fringe debate. It's actually quite clever. So really the natural question from a lot of you becomes, does this change the timeline in any way? The fact that this video came out directly from the president's account on September 28th, it only adds weight to the discussion. And really this may give regulatory agencies more room to move, or at least signal that the White House is indeed supportive. That said, nothing's guaranteed. The DEA still controls the process and its final decision has not been made public. But what Trump's statement does does is raise the question of whether rescheduling could pick up pace. And that's what people across the industry are now watching closely. We want to see an announcement now. The plot thickens here, everyone. So now the big question is, what should the cannabis industry, investors, and consumers be watching for next? Well, number one is the direct DEA action. Many observers believe the administrative law judge process may not significantly shape the outcome. The question here is whether the DOJ chooses to move directly to a final ruling, which many people do believe. Number two is White House messaging. Trump's Truth Social post may not be the last word. Additional statements or supportive comments from the administration could clarify how serious this push really is. And then number three are market moves. They're already underway. Cannabis stocks have already reacted to Trump's post. The question now is whether this momentum builds in a sustained long-term momentum. But one thing's for sure, it is moving right now. So really, to sum everything up, back on Sunday, September 28th, President Trump posted a Truth Social video that directly endorsed cannabinoids, CBD, and the endocannabinoid system. Big. He tied it to Medicare, seniors, hemp, and yes, cannabis. And the backing of the Commonwealth Project gives this message some added weight, and I mean some big weight. And for the cannabis industry, the video raises new questions about how rescheduling could unfold and what signals to watch for next. And believe me, we're all watching very closely right now. Wow, what a moment it was for the sitting president of the United States talk about the benefits of cannabinoids and really mention hemp and cannabis. We are in different times. Keep looking at the big picture, everyone. Hopefully we get an announcement sooner rather than later. So keep close, keep connected, and leave your comments below and let us know what you thought of the video and what this means for the cannabis industry. Love to get your feedback. As usual, if you like this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and smash on that bell for all notifications, and stay connected with us here at the TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. That's it for now, so make sure you stay close, everybody. Let's hope we get some announcement relatively soon. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. I'm your host, Shad Dales. This has been the latest TDR Cannabis in 5 presented by Dutchie. Thanks for watching.